Fuego here, little Rapido Fuego review out of the theater action. That's just my name for it. And that's because for the second day in a row this week, I got the chance to check out a flick about a woman navigating the trenches of trauma, which would be Die My Love with Jennifer Lawrence that I watched yesterday. And today I went to check out the latest from A24 starring Rose Byrne. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. One of my absolute favorite titles of the year, in all honesty. And so, unlike your average A24 that can get really, just off-center and whack-tastic, this one's relatively straightforward, aside from a lot of the, there's not an immense amount of psychedelia, but it's definitely in there. And so if I was, to quote Half-Baked, a little lifted, it would have maybe just hit a little harder in said regard. But this is really about the strength of the performance of Ms. Byrne there, because I have seen her in a number of things over the years where, she's dealt with a little bit of the dramatic, but I think of her in comedic things, the Paul Feig's Spy, for instance, being one that I was especially amused by her actually, being her regular Brit and all. But yeah, man, so just to get to the nitty gritty of this, Rose Byrne's character in this is a therapist that is navigating some very treacherous waters because she has a daughter that had some sort of accident happen. They keep it relatively vague in the film, and so she is in a recovery mode and using a feeding tube, but still up and about, during the daytimes and everything, but at night, she has that going down. And that's not super spoilery or anything, because really the nuts and the bolts of this is the amount of pressure that this woman is under throughout the film, the amount of just relentless condescension and scrutiny. The film begins with just hearing this nagging yeep yeep kind of voice of her daughter, who is trying to get better and everything, but is in contention for the most annoying children on screen, even though you don't see her on screen, you just hear this voice. Next to the Babadook, it is just unbelievable. And yet there is everything else going down in her life. There is a husband who is in the Navy, played by Christian Slater, who we only see later in the movie. It's just him over the phone lecturing her and stuff, and then she's getting it from her patients, where she's a therapist, but yet a therapist that needs therapy from one of her co-workers in Conan O'Brien, who doesn't really seem to be doing her much help, unfortunately. And then the roof busts in with a leak at her apartment, and there's just it's one thing after another, and you sympathize with this performance so much because of the fact that she's not dealing with it very well, drinking and smoking and things of that nature. But what a performance, what a film. It's not going to be in theaters much longer, but keep your eye out for it when it hits streaming.